Hey everyone, and welcome to Prune Insiders. I'm your host, Michael Adams, and today I have a very special guest here with me, Cory Giles.
Hey, what's up? How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Cory?
Man, it's great to be here. I want to say thank you for having me and thank you for your platform, man. I really think that what you're doing is amazing.
Thank you, and I couldn't have done this really without you and the other viewers as well. It really means a lot. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
All right, so I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I was raised by my parents until I was about like 11 or 12. And then I went with my grandparents. I grew up playing basketball. I wanted to be in the NBA. I loved basketball. It was one of the I just really wanted to do. It was one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Outside of just like basketball, I always loved movies. I was like into directing and stuff like that. But later on, I ended up getting a weird calling. I always wanted to be a DJ. That's what I always really wanted to do since I was a kid. Because my dad, he DJ'd. So I would do it and I wanted to do it, but life went on. And it took several years later for me to finally become a DJ. I'm on radio right now, Dash Radio. I DJ for the WNBA, the Connecticut Sun. So that's basically about it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a journey.
Yeah. So, what's it been like living with Prune Belly?
Well, it's been like an adventure. Like when I was younger, I kind of understood that I was different and I didn't really have a lot of connections and like resources to people with like Prune Belly. My mom would often share stories with me and, tell me the little bit that she knew about kids growing up with Prune Belly. I don't know if you ever heard of somebody who has Prune Belly syndrome who's asymmetric.
I really don't know.
Yeah. So I'm asymmetric, which basically means my muscles and everything on one side are like just completely gone. So I have muscles on one side. I had when I was inside my mom, my bladder was really bad. So my stomach was blowing up. I was going to the bathroom, but it wasn't going in the right place. So as they're taking sonograms, you see my stomach super huge and it's covering like my face. I could have suffocated myself and, died.
Yeah.
But they did a surgery while I was in my mom. They put a catheter in me so that way the urine would go in the right place. So that was a whole crazy procedure. And my mom says what helps. And if anybody who's listening to this, if you're pregnant with a kid who has Prune Belly syndrome, be on top of your doctor's appointments. They were able to identify something was wrong with me 3 to 4 months in my mom, but they didn't identify it was Prune Belly syndrome until I came out. So I don't know if there's anybody who is fortunate enough to be identified by having Prune Belly while still in their mom, now, but my mom wasn't able to do that.
Yeah. It's actually funny you mention that because I was diagnosed while I was in utero with Prune Belly syndrome. It's funny because there's this one high risk doctor my parents had who nicest person you'll ever meet. I'm still trying to get hold of him actually, see if he can come on here, but he would open his office up late at night, 10, 11 p.m. to let my parents come in so they can place a shunt that I guess drains the bladder. It goes through the mother's stomach into mine.
Yep, that was the same thing procedure I had. Also, shout out to Dr. Ginsburg. He was one of the doctors that kind of basically saved my life.
Yeah.
So
yeah, mine was Dr. Debs.
Oh, okay, cool. That's what's up. See, there's like for Prune Belly syndrome, and that's another thing with growing up with Prune Belly syndrome. You really also have to find the right doctors. It's like so important that you find like the right doctors to help you, growing up with it because there's so many things going on. There's so many things you need to know and understand. And me, I didn't really grasp and understand until I started speaking to more people with PBS. You know, the PBS organization was like, I went to our first convention in 2003.
All right.
One of the best times of my life, you know, and that
Yeah.
helped me connect with people like Frank. Shout out to my guy, Frank Walker. That's my guy right there. And like I said, growing up with it though, the worst part for me, which I'm not sure if a lot of us still go with it because schools are so heavy with rules, was bullying and being picked on. It had a profound effect in my life. Elementary school was horrible for me. I hated elementary school and most of junior high, you know, because when it
Yeah.
came to speaking out, like I would speak, I was very open about me having prune belly syndrome. I would say, hey, my stomach looks like this, but they didn't really fathom it. I would be called pregnant Power Ranger and all these other type of names. And to this day, I'm very still sensitive about my weight. I will not gain weight for like anything. Like I do
Wow.
billion crunches, and that's something that I've spoken about with a lot of prune belly parents. A lot of kids get worried about their weight because their stomach is big. So
Yeah.
sometimes you may starve yourself. There was points in time where I starved myself, you know,
Yeah.
because I didn't know how to handle it. And when I got older, I told my parents, I said, what I wish I would have done, or you guys would have done, was take me to a psychologist as a kid growing up with prune belly syndrome. So that way I would have been able to handle a lot of, you know, the bullying and things wrong, and it wouldn't drag on longer in life, you know?
Yeah. And another thing is it's not always a psychologist you need to see sometimes. Because like me, I've seen psychiatrists, I've seen psychologists, all kinds of therapists. None of them helped me. I more or less got better, more or less talking face to face or over the phone or through video chat with my friends and other prune bellies, which kind of lifted my spirits a little bit, which is part of the reason I'm doing this. Because growing up, I felt like I was the only prune belly. They actually told me I wouldn't find another one.
What?
So, yeah.
Crazy.
So I honestly felt alone, like no one else was going through this. This is hell. Why would I be put with this? So finding that network and people, especially people like you, is really a gift.
Yeah, man. Like the network is definitely everything. It's huge to be able to speak to people and console. Like I know there's some parents who reached out to me who have younger kids, and I'll be like, yo, tell them your kids they could do anything they want to do. Like
Yep.
they could do anything they want to do. Don't listen to them. Um, Deal with the, you know, like if you get bullied in school, don't worry about it. Go above it. Be better than what they expect you to be in your life. And PBS is not a curse. It's not a life sentence. We're wonderful people. Yes, we have things that are wrong with us, but as long as we have the strong support foundation, that's what really makes everything easy is the support and the love.
I totally agree. And going back to finding the right doctors, and I kind of want to stress this to parents a little bit too. And I am probably the person who should not be given advice on the issue. But going back to finding the right doctors, I just want to put out there just because they're ranked number one doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually number one. Like with me, I'm not going to name the hospital, but I've been in the top 10 children's hospital in the country, and they completely screwed my life up. They did a surgery actually that was supposed to create a catheter channel and instead created amplified pain syndrome in me.
Wow.
I'd lost my scholarship to school because of it. My pastor had wanted to give it to someone else, and I said, well, my doctor told me I couldn't go to school for 5 years, so all right, go ahead, give my scholarship away. Day before school starts, guess what? You can go back.
That's
But
crazy, man.
but switching topic, I did find good doctors. I'm at a really good hospital now in Philadelphia. So, but it's just because they're ranked number one, don't think that they're actually number one in compassion, care, and even knowledge with Prune Belly so much.
Yeah, that's a super fact, especially when it comes to doctors. Do the research. meet them, talk to them, like build with them. Like it's the relationships. Like there's some doctors that I've had from when I was a kid that, you know, I reached back to Dr. Ginsburg and Burston. I spoke to Dr. Burston maybe like 2, 3 years ago. He's like, oh, wow, you're doing so well, you know? So to like
Yeah.
see that and get that, those relationships are like huge. And the other thing too, I don't know if you, I'm trying to think, as I got older and I was doing research on prune belly syndrome, they said usually the best doctors are what are the doctors you see when you're a kid? Pediatric doctors.
Yeah.
So pediatric doctors are really good for prune belly syndrome. Some kids could retain their pediatric doctor through adulthood. Now,
Yeah.
doctors that I had when I switched from Burston were rushing me off to an adult doctor. And that was a real scary time for me. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't put in the right situation with doctors. I had to find the right doctor myself, and reaching back out to Dr. Burston, because if you're a parent and your kid is getting like 17, 18 and they're trying to force you off, reach out to somebody and be like, hey, I don't like this. Can you please put me in the right place for a doctor because my child is reaching a.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't ever be afraid to get a second opinion either. Just because one doctor says something doesn't mean another doctor agrees, or that every doctor agrees.
Exactly.
So, what else can you tell me about your story?
So basically, when it comes to growing up with prune belly syndrome, like, you know, after the whole bullying thing, I kind of tried to like just find my own way in life. And then as you're getting older and, you know, your body's changing and then there's just certain things and you're just trying to figure stuff out. And like my stomach, I really thought my stomach was like, it was like super crazy because I don't have the muscles and I have a scar from one of my surgeries, and it was like taking a whole just effect on me mentally growing up. But when I came in contact with the PBS network, like you said, meeting other people, it kind of like helped me develop confidence in myself and letting me know like I'm not alone, and being able to do that, like I've become more outspoken.
Yeah.
I'm a DJ. I perform in front of thousands of people. Like I'm on radio, like, you know, like, and
Yeah.
it's in it. I feel like I won this show, as I told you before. All kids who have prune belly syndrome, you can do anything. Like I played basketball. I was very good at basketball. I was exceptional. I was very good at basketball. I played all the way until I got into college. And they told my parents, your kid's not going to be able to walk. Like they were telling my mom all this type of stuff. And shout out to my mom. My mom's a Jehovah's Witness. And, you know, her faith is what carried her through to have me, you know, and my dad, very supportive. Shout out to my dad too. And they continued to have me, and I just continued to just go on and meet different expectations. And one of the doctors that I had, Dr. Franklin, she definitely pushed me too, as far as Dr. Franklin was in, I think it's Beth Israel now. They changed all the hospitals in New York. It's crazy. But it was on 14th Street. And, you know, she let me know, like, yo, I could do anything. So I stayed, I played basketball. I got in shape, you know, and like I said, from the bullying and stuff, it kind of helped me like my whole life, you know, kind of be able to like manage things. But like I said, I used to be afraid at one point when you're, if I say it, let me not say anything at all. So I didn't really become open again with having prune belly syndrome until the PBS network.
Uh, yeah, I was actually kind of quiet about it too. I was never really outspoken about my prune belly syndrome, to be honest with you. I've been bullied too. I've actually had people pull my shirt up on the bus and literally point and laugh at all my scars. until I got that scholarship to a Christian school. And that's
Ah,
where I found my faith as well.
ah, yo, man, the scar is pretty cool after a while, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey, now you got good stories though to tell girls. It was a shark bite.
I'm gonna use that one. I'm gonna use that. I like that.
So, so what advice, the best advice you could give to a prune belly child who does feel alone in this?
If you're watching this, reach out. Reach out to us. Reach out to anybody. Have them reach out to you. Have them reach out to me. A lot of us, I have not met one person with prune belly syndrome who was standoffish or was a jerk or who did not want to talk in my personal experience, you know? And you could find somebody out of all of us, there's a lot of us, which the doctors in the world will tell you, no, there aren't any. There are a lot of us who are very confident and good people to speak to. So definitely try to reach out to one and build your own personal relationship, you know?
Yeah.
The bullies are losers. The bullies will wake up and not really do anything with their life. And the people who bullied me, they're really not doing much at all.
Yep. Which is the reason I actually give my phone number out on this as well, because I know how alone you can feel. And I'd rather have someone call me at 3 a.m. in the morning than do something stupid because they felt alone or the bullies got to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you say was the hardest part of prune belly?
The hardest part, understanding it overall. And then there was a lot of times I would ask myself, why me? What did I do? Like, why was I born like this? You know, like that.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part of just getting over it. The psychological battle, it's not only, it's also psychological. And sometimes I know I paid so much attention to the physical as a child. When I was older, the psychological part started to kick in. So that's why I tell a lot of parents, catch the psychological part early too. That's very, very important.
Yeah. Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I do. Yes. And they're very supportive. They've been there the whole time. So kisses to them.
That's great. They sound like they really support you.
Yes, they definitely do.
Good. So, have you dated at all with prune belly?
Oh, my God. He's getting to questions. I like this. At first, like in high school, maybe also college, I kind of hid it and tried to hide it to my best of my abilities. I never really spoke about it at all. And then I dated this one girl, very nice, shout out to Brianna. That was the first girl I ever told that I had, prune belly syndrome.
Yeah.
She was super supportive, she was she did research on it or whatever the case is. And I definitely think that was super, super dope that she did that. But yeah, now I'm pretty much, open about hey, ooh, it's hot in here. I have prune belly syndrome. I have something that's wrong with me, whatever. I don't think I've encountered any weird ladies that would be oh, you're weird, you have prune belly syndrome or whatever. But I mean, it's different people, and today we grow up in a different time. So it's you tell somebody this now, it's a little bit more acceptable than maybe telling them 10 years ago.
Yeah. And for the people who are, I've never met anyone either, but for the girls who would see this as a problem, I think it's more the medical aspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For the ladies who do see this and watch this, who don't have any prune belly syndrome, or maybe dating someone with prune belly syndrome, remember, be very, very, very understanding. It's not only the physical, it's also psychological things that we go through. It's the whole taking off your shirt. That's another thing. Yo, I used to be so scared to take my shirt off at the pool, my guy. Like I used to like literally wear undershirts or whatever the case is, like, and I don't, I think it was like maybe, I think I was like maybe 9 or 10 where I just was like, yo, forget it, and just was like forget it, like, hey, so
Yeah.
ladies, we deal with that. So kind of like really try to be sensitive. If you're not really kind of like built for that or don't want to go on the journey, say it up front, be respectable, and because we're great people. Don't judge what we have as the end all be all.
Yeah. And I think you definitely defined Prune Belly well when you called it a journey.
Yep, it's a journey I'm still going on. I'm still learning different things every day. New doctors. I'm hearing about people with like different cases. Like there's just so many things that I see, and I'm happy that I could be up to date with everything because of Facebook. And it's like, I'm in the entertainment industry, so my career is like really like hectic, but I know there's like so much more I definitely want to do, as in fact of speaking to younger kids with Prune Belly syndrome, outside of to reach out to me because that's needed,
Yeah. And you mentioned the convention. How was it there? Because to be honest, I still haven't been to a convention.
My God, then you should go. It was great for me, like to walk in the room and not have to suck your stomach in. That's amazing. It's cool.
Yeah.
You see people just like you, you get to talk to them. And that was inspirational point for me to be at one. I definitely can't wait for them to start them back up because I really want to go.
Yeah, I'm hoping 2022 they start them back up, but
yes, but the convention was a great experience. I loved it. Soon as they bring them back, I'm trying to be there every year if I don't have to work,
Yeah, I definitely want to go. It's just been a little bit of problem with finance and stuff like that going. So how was it in college with Prune Belly syndrome, dealing with medical issues alongside having to take classes?
Well, that at the same time, so in college, I also wasn't, that was a point where I wasn't really comfortable, outing out, I have Prune Belly syndrome.
Yeah.
Oh, and it was kind of like, don't say anything. And then I'm going to the doctors. And then as I'm getting older, they're kind of telling me the things that I'll go through. So like I said, at that point to me, elementary school to junior high school was the physical battle of it for me. High school, I was pretty all right. I was kind of popular. And then college, I was popular in college, but the psychological aspect of the Prune Belly syndrome was starting to take effect of what was going on because I never really took the time to deal with it. And, it was a lot. Like it was kind of weird to have to, if something's wrong, go to the doctor. In college was when I started to get a lot of UTIs because there's people with Prune Belly syndrome, we get them
Constantly.
more than anybody. And for me, I think I had them when I was like maybe up until like 5 or 6 years old. And then I didn't have them for such a long. But when I got to college, I was like, yo, what's something wrong? Like I knew I wasn't sexually active. So I'm like, yo, like this does not make sense to me. And I put off going to the doctors for like a couple years because I didn't want to make that transition to another doctor. And that's where having good doctors come important. And I found out the UTIs was from my Prune Belly. I reached out to the network and it was just the most painful. Those things hurt, bro. Like I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be spoken to. I don't, just leave me alone because that pain is crazy.
Yeah. Now, I know kidney problems is common with Prune Belly syndrome. Are you on any anti-rejection drugs?
No, I've been fortunate to not have to be on any of those drugs. I'm happy. Like they really, my kidneys were not, well, still to this day, they're not in place because of the Prune belly syndrome. You know, a lot of my
Yeah,
like still around my stomach. It's not anchored down because my stomach is not strong enough.
yeah.
Um, so I've been kind of fortunate to not have to be on a lot of medication or any, therefore, you know, because of my doctors and then, you know, my parents.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
So, huh. Sorry, just trying to think of something.
Good. It's all good.
So, huh. How did your family, well, parents react when you had Prune Belly? Did they tell you anything or?
My parents were, they were scared. You know, they had me at a young age. They weren't married at the time when I was conceived. So it was just like, what do we do? We don't know what's wrong with this kid. We can't see his face. His belly's covering him. They're saying that there could be something wrong with his spine. He may not walk. What do we do? They offered my mom the chance to abort me when they started seeing these things in me. But thanks to, you know, my parents' faith at the time, they did not, you know, abort me. They had me. Uh my mom pretty much babied me a little bit. You know, with the prune belly growing up, my pops would be like, get up, like not dying, you know, like,
Yeah.
he instilled the tough love in me. Um, the only thing which, and I battle with my parents today, like I said, from the psychological aspect, I took the time to do a lot of research on prune belly syndrome the last maybe 7, 8 years of my life to really understand it better. And I went to my parents and my parents, I actually kind of yelled at them. I said, you guys did not do everything that you could have to make sure I grew up with knowledge from this and also that I was mentally strong from dealing with the things that I went through in elementary school at PSP 46 or growing up. That was my thing with them. And my parents also, you know, they acknowledged that they were young and that they, you know, they didn't get to do that. But I think now they're supporting whatever I find, I'll go back and I'll tell them. I'll be like,
Okay.
hey, I found this out or you know, X, Y, and Z. And that's why it's important as a parent to do as much research as you can because you're your child's first line of defense. I can't talk at 3 years old when I can't really use the bathroom properly. I can't speak properly, you know, if I'm in pain. If I'm having a UTI at 5, I don't know what it is, you know, like I don't, you're your parents, as a parent with the kid with Prune belly syndrome, you're the first line of defense. You have to think of absolutely everything. There are certain things I'm not going to mention that my parents from A to Z, they didn't ask A to Z. They may be asked A to G. Ask A through Z. Be like, hey, I'm making this decision for my child, but in 15 years, will my child be mad I made this decision for them? Is this, you have to ask all of those questions. And sometimes your child may be mad that you made the decision. It's just something you have to you have to live with and you have to feel as a parent, I did the best thing. And even if you did not make the best thing, feel that you in your heart tried to do the best thing that you have. But like I said, my parents are very supportive. My mom came with me to my first convention. But yeah, like they're supportive now. They just didn't have the knowledge or seek the knowledge.
All right. So I think we're getting ready to wrap up here. I just have about two more questions, if that's okay.
Cool. All good, all good.
All right. How are you doing mentally and physically now,
Well,
today?
physically, I still deal with the whole weight thing. I was in like a real dark place. I got into a car accident and ended up getting chronic pain. And then my UTIs were like at an all-time high. I was like getting them very, very, very frequently. So as I put on weight from all of that stuff, that's when it came to me again, like, oh, yo, I'm fat. Yo, I don't want to be pregnant Power Ranger again.
Yeah.
And like, I still kind of deal with that. Like, I will not go over 180 pounds for anything. So that still is something that I deal with. Psychologically, I'm getting a little, I'm getting better with it. I do see a therapist. If I have any questions or whatever, or things is like really bad, man, like I said, shout out to Frank Walker. Me and Frank, I mean, we haven't spoken in a minute, but Frank was definitely someone I spoke to when, I was going through everything that I was kind of going through with Prune Belly, and then just like the whole psychological aspect of it. But
Yeah.
overall, I'm good. Like, I have good friends, good circle, good siblings. And like I said, the network. So, I'm
Yeah.
good.
So, all right. Last question. Would you be willing to come back on the channel if we got questions from viewers?
Any questions? My phone is open to you. I could be on radio. Text me. I'll just hit you. I will hit you when I get off. Whatever you guys need, whatever you need, Mikey, always hit me up. I'm open. I'm here for this because, like I said, we need this. I
Yeah.
wish you were around, doing this years ago, because like there's going to be a kid 15, 20 years from now that's going to say that, yo, this helped their life.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And remember, my phone's always open if you have to talk about anything, whether you want it to stay private or whether you want to come on. And that goes for anybody watching this as well, whether it be Prune Belly, patients, siblings, parents. I'm more than willing. My phone's open. My number will be in the description below. Anyone wants to come on, I really like to see a girl Prune Belly on here. If one of them are watching, please contact me, because I know it's I don't want to say rare, but it's more rare for a girl to make it than a guy. I don't know why. That's just what some of the research has shown. But if you've liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and click the notification bell, and we'll see you next time. This Prune Belly Insiders, your host Michael Adams, on with Cory, logging off.